Welcome back. In the last episode I introduced you to the profile principle. The idea that you create 3 profiles. The first profile is of you today. Letting go of all your baggage, just you living today, separate from your baggage of the past, to make a profile of who you are. So in my case, 60-year-old Richard and so on. If you go into my blog, you'll get a better understanding of this. But this is basically a profile of who I am today without all my baggage. And then to do a profile of myself in 5 years or 10 years, knowing that I don't want the future aspect of me to suffer as I've suffered. So what I want for myself in 5 or 10 years' time, that's the profile I create. And I put a profile of the past aspect of me who suffered the trauma event. And that's what I did in the last episode. And I go into more detail on my website, in my blog post. You can check that out there too. Well, this episode is a continuation of this. But rather than just doing one profile for the past, in this instance you're going to get I'm 60 years of age, so I get 60 pages, 60 A4 pages, and a folder, and a pen. I'm going to use one page for every year of my life. Now, the earlier years, maybe they can put 3 on one page. They won't have to use 60 pages, and so on. Maybe have 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 10, and so on. And go back looking at, maybe talk to aunts, uncles, parents, older siblings, if it's safe to do so. Or look at old family albums. Work with your therapist, your psychotherapist, and try and compile what happened in these past that you're carrying today, maybe at age 1, at age 5, at age 7, and just make them all up individually. Each sheet is separate, so what happened to the 1-year-old is here, what happened to the 5-year-old is here, 7, 9, 10, and so on. And you do this. It may take you a while, you may have to work with a therapist on this, it may not be safe to do this to you on your own, but you make up a folder showing every event that you can think of that affects you today. So look at what's affecting you today and try and put a year and an age on that of a younger aspect of you. So for me, I'm 60-year-old Richard today. I look at infant Richard, 3-year-old Richard, 5-year-old Richard, 7 and so on, 10, 12, 15 and so on. Whatever ages come up for me, whatever came up in my past. I look at photographs, I remember of something that happened, maybe the death of my grandparents, my grandmother, my grandfather, things that would have affected me as a child. Put that down. These are all the past trauma events that we carry and we end up trying to process today, but we're powerless to process the pain of another person. And we try to process the pain of another person, it causes our lives to become unmanageable. So if you visit my blog on my website or on the platform Medium, Tumblr or Blogger, you'll see this episode written out in full. So again, it's called the separation principle, because you're going to separate from each of these lives. You're going to see what happened to 1-year-old Richard, and you're going to realize that 1-year-old Richard went through that so I'd be free today, and he didn't want me to suffer it. So I have to give back whatever part of today is his, give it back to him. Now, granted, I will have learned behaviour, and part of what I do today will be my stuff, but a lot of it comes from our past. And any of the stuff we have today, we find we give it back to the past aspect of ourselves. It loses its power today because the foundation it was built on aren't solid, they aren't real, they're belonging to another person. So when we learn to give these back to our past aspects, it gets to a place where we're free of them, and we're free of them. Suddenly, we take offence at something from somebody around us here now, we don't take as much offence over it because it isn't really ours to deal with in the first place. We have to learn that anything happened in the past is not ours, it's belonging to a younger aspect of ourselves. In the profile principle, you just picked one target, one past aspect who carried that one event that really troubles you the most. But this week you're going to list them all out, whether you're my age, 60, or you're 70, or you're 40, or you're 30, or you're 15. Go back and look and see in your life what things in your life affected you today that you feel are yours, that you're processing, and then realize this didn't happen to me at 15 years of age today, it happened to when I was 12. So it all belonged to 12-year-old Richard, and so on. So this is a case of you're going to put down on paper, so you know exactly what's yours and exactly what's belonging to. For me, I'm 60 today, so 59-year-old Richard, 57-year-old Richard, 55-year-old Richard, 50, 45, and so on. Whatever age comes up for me that's relative to me, I put down, and I put down the details of it. And there may be 60 for my 60 years, but chances are there'll be a few years I had good years in that weren't so bad. A lot of happiness too. So it doesn't count for every year, but you're allowing yourself the space to do this. Again, if this is triggering for you, I shared it in a practice before where you lace your fingers together, place them on the back of your neck and press your elbows out. And hold in this position when you breathe into your nose, into your belly, expanding your belly like a balloon, and then breathing out your nose. This stops you from being triggered. We carry our anxiety in the chest as though there's an elephant sitting upon our chest. When we hold the position, it opens up our chest, we can breathe gently, we don't get anxious. The same with our backs. When we hold this position, it stops the stress from building up on our backs, that we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. So if at any time this gets triggered for you, link your fingers together, place them over your head onto the nape of your neck, push your elbows back. Keep your spine straight. Breathe in gently into your nose. Expand your tummy, and then on the way out, exhale through your nose. And that's it. So take your time with this. If you have someone, a loved one, your partner, a good friend, or your therapist, allow them to help you through this journey, to itemize all these events. And next week I'll go through how we now proceed from here. But you're really trying to do with the profile principle and the separation principle. You're seeing what's yours and what's not yours. In the same way, you don't want the older aspect of you in the future carrying your baggage. You're going to realize all the past aspects of you never wanted you to carry the baggage today. You have to learn to give it back to them freely in a safe way, so that you just deal with what's in your profile, what you have to deal with today. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll speak to you again next week.